Marvel Zombies has officially aired on Disney+, so let's talk about my thoughts on the show. Let's start with the storyline. I personally really liked this storyline. It felt very much like a classic zombie tale, but with that Marvel and superhero twist. I will say that the end episode did confuse me a little bit in terms of what Wanda was doing and why she was doing what she was doing, but otherwise this was a really solid storyline and a really solid premise that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. In terms of the characters, I really enjoyed the mix that we got because we had a few A-list characters like Spider-Man and also Yelena and people like this, and also characters we don't see that often like Kamala, Shang-chi and Jimmy Woo. And what I especially loved was that the characters who haven't had that spotlight on them as much really got the chance to shine in this show. My two standout characters for this show have to be though Kamala and also Shang-Chi. I thought they were both done excellently throughout here. I also really enjoyed their chemistry and their storyline throughout this show, and I thought they both did an excellent job of basically carrying this entire show on their shoulders. I also thought the team-ups throughout here were absolutely fantastic. I especially loved the first episode where we saw a little hint of what the Young Avengers / Champions could be with Kamala, Kate and also Riri. I thought their team-up was absolutely brilliantly done and I desperately want more from it. I also really enjoyed seeing Kamala interacting with Shang-Chi as well. They had a really interesting friendship unfolding throughout the series, and I really hope we get to see it in the mainline MCU as well, because I feel like they'd have a really fun friendship that I'd really like to explore in future movies. And it would be remiss of me to not mention her, but Wanda Maximoff was once again absolutely terrifying. I really enjoyed her in this one, and Elizabeth Olsen absolutely nailed being terrifying with just her voice. In terms of the art style, I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. It is the same as it is in What If, but it is also a lot more bloodier and gorier because obviously this is a TVMA rating show and it is a zombie show and they do not hide away from the blood and the gore and everything else, but I did really enjoy it. Obviously art style is personal preference, but for me I did quite like it. In terms as to whether or not this is comic book accurate, I will say it is not really following any kind of established Marvel zombie storyline, and instead it's doing its own thing like the MCU usually does. They've kept some things from the original zombie comics, like the idea that the heroes keep their powers even after they've become zombified, but they have taken away the idea that the heroes generally keep their intelligence and their personalities after they've become zombies. Obviously, Wanda is the exception to this, but mainly everybody else is a zombie in the traditional sense. So it's not the most comic accurate thing in the world, but I don't really begrudge it for that either, because I think this storyline works really well with the heroes we know and love being the traditional zombies and Wanda being basically the only one in full control here. And don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have seen the original Robert Kirkman run put onto the big screen, but I still think this is a really enjoyable storyline and a really enjoyable interpretation of the Marvel Zombies. So as for my final thoughts on this, I did really enjoy Marvel Zombies. It is not the most comic book accurate adaptation I've ever seen, but it is still really fun to watch and really well worth watching. I will say this is not going to be for everyone, because obviously there is a lot of blood and gore in this one, which is not for everyone, but if you are a fan of the original What If episode, or zombies in general, this is definitely a fantastic thing to watch. And that is my thoughts on Marvel Zombies. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought of this show. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a zombie emoji down below to let me know that you were here. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos where I'm going to be talking more about the MCU and also Marvel Comics, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time everyone, bye!